Okay, yeah, so that's where we were. So he could not see that happen, right, when he had come so close to being God. So 9/11 had to be the part, 9/11 had to be introduced, right, in order to enact the plans for the new American century, right? Because it wasn't going to be no American century had there not been a 9/11, right? Why, by which they could reconstruct the East, to support a fallen Rothschild, where he could regroup and rebuild himself, right, again, with using somebody else's land and resources again, okay? So anyway, so 9/11, right, bailed him out. You thought it was George Bush in some way, but, bailing the banks out. Okay, it was 9/11 that bailed them out, right? They bailed that kept hope alive, right? That bailed the Rothschilds out, right? That bailed their manifest destiny out, right? Because now, and that's why I said earlier, it's a corporate war on humanity. The military is just used to implement corporate policy. Corporate policy all over the world is Zionist. Rothschild British Zionist policy. Corporate policy that's being enacted on the world of humanity. Okay? Using the central bank as it's connected to the Vatican, right? As it's connected to bonding everybody, right? It's all connected, right? It's all a system, right? But anyway, we're leaving that system, right? We're creating a new one, right? And they can have their system. There don't have to be a war. No. We just live another way. Don't have to be a war. Don't have to fight. We just live another lifestyle, right? They don't incorporate war. And they change to change. That's why I said we're separating the wheat from the tares. You do, you don't, you don't. It's better if you do. And that is, live live, a lifestyle that sustains life, So, anyway, and by networking with those who do as well, right? It's a big network, right? Real family network, because we're incorporating culture, right? Multiple cultures, not multinational corporations, multinational cultures, right? That's what's going to make the world go round, especially if we're all these different, multiple people, what I mean by multiple people, the population is expanding, right? So if the population is expanding rapidly, then we really got to use our heads, right? We really need to use multiple cultures, not one way of life depending on a gold coin, right? Or Bitcoin. Even a Bitcoin won't work, right? We can't depend on that, okay? We can't depend on a Bitcoins and those such transactions. We can't. Like an aspect of life, but not the sole individual way of doing business. That's what I'm saying. That's why it has to be multicultural. Okay. Anyway, so the war on terror, 9/11, was the answer to their prayers, right? And to stare everybody else into fear, right? All other Americans into fear, right? What do they call it? Mob mentality, right? Stir them into fear mode, right? And then eventually act as mob mentality, have mob mentality whereby they don't think, they just react, right? Anyway, so 9/11 comes and what? And to aid in sustaining, the collapsing economy, because what if the if the Western economy would have collapsed, that would have meant, those oil-rich nations, would have the revenue, such as Gaddafi, right? They would have the revenue to, actually buy gold and, really have a strong leverage in the market, the new emerging market, right? By default. Because Rothschild wouldn't, let's say the Zionists, would not have been able to sustain a strong presence, a dominant presence in the market. It's not so much whether we want to wash them out the market, just they will, the direction the universe is going in regards to wholeness, unity, togetherness, that type of mentality, fascism, racism, separatism, and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't work. East from west, division, is not going to work. So it's, like I said, it's separating the wheat from the tares. The tares are for life. The tares are for, the wheat is for life. The tares are for the culture of death, and they're going to stay that way. And that's the way they want to be. So be it. If they want to stay in that type of environment, commercial environment, if that's the only way to survive, so be it. But alhamdulillah subhanahu wa ta'ala, humanity doesn't have to live that way, right? According to commercial power, right? Okay. Natural, inherent manpower, right, is the way to live. Manpower. Okay? And not exploit it commercially, right? Using gifts and talents and inspiration and intellect, right? Which is what intellect is, divine inspiration, right? Intel coming in from outside somewhere else, right? The universe, signals, waves, okay? Inspiration. Utilizing that creativity with the third eye open or pineal gland open, right? Because we are in the age of Aquarius and we have ascended. All we got to do is live, believe. Now it's about belief, learning, continue learning and growing, right? In this new kingdom, this new lifestyle, the new lifestyle, okay? Enjoy, okay. So, the collapse of their economy. No, I won't go there. Okay, so because I was already there, how intense they, how connected they feel to their, their commercial power, and what did I say? So, I said that it would have been the collapse of the Western economy. Civilization, but we weren't there. We were, in regards to, embracing the new and separating the wheat from the tares, right? The universe is going toward wholeness. It's not going toward separatism. None of that. Male and female united. The gender war over, right? All those things. Remember, I did a video once about energy, and as it relates to two forbidden energies, let's say, that weren't supposed to come together. No. This is where it was. When the universe was ordered, right? Energy was ordered, right? Let's say atoms was ordered, right? The energy was ordered, right? It was constructed, right? It was controlled, right? Through, let's say, atomic power, right? But only as it relates to what do they call that? The periodic table, right? Okay. So, as it relates to atoms, as it relates to energy, right? It was controlled, right? So, let's say when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala organized the universe, right? When He organized it chemically and all these things, right? He organized it atomically, right? let's say certain atoms weren't supposed to get together, right? Because it was ordered, right? It was structured that way. And to go against the structure is to restore chaos that was ordered, right? So these two atoms getting together that weren't supposed to, okay, in the garden when man was deceived, okay, and intercoursed with the outcast creature, right, known as the devil, known as Eve, according to Allah only created Adam and Hawa, where the Eve come in, okay. So, but we'll call it the devil, okay. And if you wanted, you could say D-E, yeah, there's Eve, and Eve's in the devil, okay. D-E-V-E-L, right, devil, devil, okay. It's actually, wait, yeah, it's actually devil. Well, it's long E, right? Right. So she would be the devil. Evil's in, okay. Evil's in the devil. In the devil. Okay. Anyway, so in the garden, the atoms, not to get together, but they got together. They brought back chaos. Okay, and had that chaos been left where it was, it would have broke down, attempted to decay, break down the whole creation. Because at least as it was at that level constructed. So now we're at this point, right? We're in the universe right now. We're saying we've got to come together. Unity, east, west, male, female, all those things that had collapsed. That system that had collapsed when the two atoms got together, right? The two forbidden atoms when they got together, right? And that's what I'm talking about, the devil intercourse with man, right? Okay. And took his manpower, right? Okay. So, anyway, it brought chaos to the system, right? The way it was constructed, as it was ordered, right? So now we got chaos in the system. It broke down all through the system. Man, woman, child, everything. The whole system was messed up, right? It was chaotic. The energy was all chaotic, okay? So, now it's saying, okay, there's enough order to come together, to reconstruct, okay, resurrect, come back together, male, female, no gender war, humanity, one family, nations coming together, no war. Okay? So the system is reconstructing itself. Okay? Just as it was in the beginning, right? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constructed the universe orderly, right? To function in a certain way. Because it's first there was chaos, right? And when Adam met up, when two atoms got together, you know, they went against the structure. And the structure began to break down, so they had to go. Right? And that happens in many households, right? One atom breaks out, or the one family member, I'm comparing to Adam, breaks out and does something wrong. Okay? He got to go, right? Okay, that's the way it is. So, anyway, yeah. So the wheat is being separated from the tares, right? And the wheat, that is life, right? It is coming together, right? It's about coming together. Male, female, in a natural perspective. You know, wholeness in our diets, taking care of the body. You know, taking care of the mind, connecting with the environment. You know, the Christ consciousness, the pineal gland, you know. That's where we are, right? Okay. Okay. And that's the direction we're going. And that's the direction we got to stay, right? But you have that 9/11, consciousness, fascist consciousness, right? That has destroyed the world, right? Built American century, right? So, the culture of death, right? They want to repress that because it's a threat to them, right? It's a global threat to their economy, to their destiny, okay? They can't have it. So blast Iran back to the Stone Age, blast Libya back to the Stone Age, so even if the market collapsed, they'd still be no match for the Western Rothschild market, right? Even if they had all the gold in the world, it'd still take them a lifetime. And nowadays, a lifetime is lived in a nanosecond, right? So time is going by that fast. So how fast would they be able to catch up if they were blast? That is, Iran blast the Stone Age, or Libya, as it is, blast the Stone Age, or the black man put back in slavery, right? The woman put back in bondage by her children, right? Because now we are messing with, her right to, to make decisions for her body, right? Well, for her, make decisions of her own, right? She needs that outside validity, so misogyny's got to come back to control the woman, right? Okay, so, anyway, so, yeah, they want to hold them back because, remember, they can't go to the second level. They can't go to the second floor. They can only stay in the basement. So they got to bring somebody down. They got to bring the humanity back down. So you can't afford to go back down. And not only that, but the universe won't let the person go back down because we're in another place. We're in another, we're in another consciousness, right? Okay. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. So what? Blast them back. Remember, because all they had is they couldn't compete with Libya or Iraq or Iran or any of the Middle East, especially if they united. If they freaking united against America economically. Oh my freaking gosh, that would have been a disaster. That would have been a fucking disaster. It'd have been better for tsunami than those countries to unite economically. So they didn't have, they couldn't compete. The Rothschild Zionists couldn't compete with the, Iran, Iraq, Libya, none of those economically. But they could militarily. And maintain their manifest destiny, orientation. So, homosexual orientation. Okay? So, blast them back to the past and beat the black man on the street. Make him fear authority. Right? Make him lash out. This is Jacob's ladder, right? When Jacob got his freedom, then what happened? And began to climb the ladder. Right? When Jacob got his freedom, there came the trouble. What did it say? More money, more problems, right? But you can't give up the money because you got the problem, got to solve the problems, right? So, troubles are just beginning, right? But got to find out why. Because you're Hebrew. That's why. But you got to get out the Babylonian spirituality, right? They brought you over here a Hebrew and gave you their European Christianity, their Antichrist Christianity. Because we all, as I said, Christ wasn't born in Britain. Christ wasn't a Rothschild. Okay? His home wasn't Buckingham Palace. Or Buckingham. Okay? 5150 Buckingham. Anyway, so, yeah, bring you over here and give you their version of your religion, basically telling you who you are, right? And of course, you the slave, right? Who didn't have no life before, right? No freedom before, right? No real home to ever call your own, right? Anyway, So, and it's biblical for to be enslaved too, according to their Bible, right? So, anyway, yeah. So, yeah, beat him down, beat him back, beat his integrity down. If he thought he was free before, remind him that he's not. These are Zionist policies, Rothschild policies. Okay, so we put you back in bondage, put you back in your place, Adam, as it relates to the devil, right? He's the devil incarnate, the antichrist, the one pretend to be Christ, right? The anti-one, right? Yeah. Push the black people, Hebrew people in America back into slavery and all across Africa. And, and then, you know, Arab nations, especially Muslim nations, who have the truth, who have, spiritual accreditation, okay, is pure, right? If they want pure Christianity, go to Islam. They want pure Judaism, go to Islam, okay? Because that's where the Christ consciousness went, right? In the house of what? Aquarius, right? The water bearer, right? Okay. So, the new age, right? The new generation, Michael's generation, okay? He went into the house of Islam, right? Miles away, right? Oceans apart. Okay. Anyway, I'm just singing some of the song. Anyway, but yeah, the Aquarius, right? The Christ consciousness it went into Islam. Michael went into Islam, right? Anyway, so yeah. You want the Orthodox, so, yeah. It's in Islam, right? Okay. So, yeah. No, that's where I was. Okay, so yeah, so take Judaism from me, from my ancestors, and give us Antichrist, self-defeating, theology. Okay, a Zionist theology, right? Okay, now, so blast those who have the truth back into the rubble, and put those other ones, the ones they held captive before, put their ancestors back into slavery, right? Okay, until we can find out until they make further plans for their demise, because there's too many goddamn many of them right now, right? Get rid of them all at once. I mean, somebody would notice. Okay. Anyway, some of y'all would start to notice. Can't blame everything on the aliens. Anyway, so yeah, blast them back to the Stone Age. They never have a chance to get up again. They could have total domination, even with a little bit of fiat currency. Okay, so because they still have more than the the slaves and the basically cave dwelling Arabs, right? Eastern people in the East, right? The Zionists would have more than the rest of humanity, right? They'd still be on top, right? And that's what that military was used for. The big bucks, right? That's why the military had to have the big bucks, right? Has to have the big bucks, right? Okay. But anyway, so that was the plan, right? It's still the plan. Okay. So the Beta Zionist male comes. Okay. So, now, and as I said, that was thought of by the New American Century. That was to be the plan for the New American Century, is to be war, and more war. Okay, they hatched that plan years before it was enacted, before 9/11 happened, right? Before they started going into greater Zionist expansionism, right? Or Zionist expansionism. So it was hatched to destroy, to protect the market, right? The barren market. 9/11 was hatched to protect the market, national interest, national security, and it didn't matter if a few Americans had to live there, had to sacrifice. Americans sacrifice their life every day, right? And that's what the military is for, to sacrifice their life for corporate America. Okay? So, in the world trade, it was, it was American sacrifice, right? And they built a monument, right? So that should be enough to satisfy, that should be enough to satisfy the family of the and Americans, right? For the a price to pay for freedom, right? Okay. In the corporate world, living among the corporate world, right? Okay. Or a corporate among the corporate culture, right? Okay. 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 Let me see. Okay. So anyway, so as I said, it was hatched a long time ago. Yeah, and that was their only way that they could, save their market. That was the only way. They couldn't compete any other way. And that's why they're still doing this today and beating that 9/11 drum, so they can continue to expand the Rothschild occupation, colonization in in the Rothschild Zionist colonization of Iraq, the Rothschild British Zionist colonization of Palestine, the Rothschild Zionist British colonization of Syria, the Rothschild British colonization of Somalia, the Rothschild Zionist British colonization of Yemen, the Rothschild British Zionist colonization of Hijaz, which is now the British Wahhabi Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, were used to mask all the terrorist crimes that they commit, false flag terrorist crimes that they commit in all around the world. The Wahhabis are responsible for that. Anyway, so and that's how the military is used, right? And to secure the poppy fields and that they confiscated as a result of 9/11, right? And the Taliban's, association with 9/11, right? As it relates to Osama, right? So anyway, yeah, that's the only way they can use their military, right? To protect the poppy fields and the drug trade that's coming into and infiltrating the American suburbs among white women, right? And contributing to the opiate epidemic in the West. Okay? Now, ooh. Yeah. Okay, so the preemptive strike in and the axis of evil, right? Remember the axis of evil? The preemptive strike and the axis of evil was a preemptive strike in order to collapse those developing nations from advancing their presence in the global market, and one day becoming a very dominant player, enough to remove the repression and control over, let's say, nations who choose not to be colonized. Okay? Arab nations, African nation, and any other part of the world that chooses not to be colonized by corporate fascists. Okay? And their Federal Reserve banking system, global banking system, fiat banking system. Okay, right now, okay, right, so they needed a scapegoat. They needed 9/11, right? The Zionists needed 9/11. Okay, they needed 9/11 to engage their preemptive strike under. under the the Bush's regime, and that's how they implemented their little plan to reconstruct and redominate the East and Africa and put all the blacks back in slaves, right? And not, or at least the ones they can capture, right? Okay. Okay, and take the world back, right? That's how they want to take the world back, literally, to their under their subjugation, right? Okay. Now, so okay. Yeah, and they want to. That's how they want to reconfigure and redominate Africa and the East and basically all the world. And Americans were to be made to support this. Americans are made to support the genocide that is taking place in all those various colonized nations that I spoke of, that are colonized by the Zionists, such as Syria. Anywhere there's a so-called Al-Qaeda or Wahhabi or any of those other Baghdadis, whatever, they are Zionists and they are Wahhabi from the British Zionist kingdom of Saudi Arabia, right? Not Hijaz. Hijaz was what it was overnamed. What Saudi Arabia was overnamed. It's really the like a capital for, it's really like a spiritual headquarters for Muslims, right? And it was named Hijaz. And when it was overnamed by the after the Saudi family, a dynasty, right? El Saud, or Saud. I don't like to say El Saud, but Saud. And he's an Arab, so Saudi Arabia, Arab, Saud Arab. That basically Saud the Arab, right? So yeah, and it was overnamed after a family that the British placed into authority, and has maintained ever since. So it's a colony. It's been colonized. Hijaz has been colonized by the Antichrist, Dajjal. Okay? So they needed a scapegoat to attack and use their preemptive strike to occupy these nations and destroy them before that they collapsed, right? Under their extensive weight of debt, right? Okay, and that's the commercial market we're speaking of. So anyway, the Americans support this genocide. Okay, when they refuse to consider 9/11 being an inside job, committed by the Zionists and its grip on American politicians. Okay, and dividing the country too between polarizing the country, male and so-called feminists, and I'm not saying the feminists. I'm not dissing the feminists. What I'm saying is, male and female. The country's so the nation is fragmented. Because of this, their Zionist policy. I forgot where I was with that, but anyway, this is where I am, really, in regards to the Americans supporting that genocide. They're supporting genocide and mass murder, torture, massive displacement of millions of people, all to support the ill will of the sociopathic Rothschild British Zionists, and basically creating a trail of tears throughout all the world of humanity. Okay, and you know, their 9/11 became the stage to launch their attack on the East, simply because it would be the natural inheritors of the global market, and the who had been, as I said, the East had been repressed, right? Repeatedly, right? No, that's not where I wanted. It had been oppressed. Oh, okay, that's what I said before. It would have, I don't know. It would have placed those first, last, and those last first, and they couldn't have that, right? Okay, because we already talked about that. Now where we at? Okay. Okay, so they have to continue their fake 9/11, right? And hope that humanity will continue to overlook it, and they can continue to deceive you and get humanity in a global war, and they will not even have time to think about it, right? Now, or the economy collapses and by force, right? And what will happen, right? And all these social divides, cultural divides, leads into some type of anarchy, or civil wars, where I want to go. But the best thing to do is what? Be prepared, right? And that is abandon that way of that lifestyle, that culture of death lifestyle, and we're gonna go to video 4. So